GM Adrian's back.
Hi.
I love your background. It's so pretty.
Thank you.
It's
It's
what you were looking at last week.
That's right. I was in a winter wonderland in Colorado.
Beautiful.
Did I miss anything?
Beautiful. You missed a whole bunch, and I'm about to get you caught up on a lot of things. So everybody buckle up, and here we go. We'll be back in 40 seconds. Welcome to GM Farcaster, bringing you everything from breaking news to spicy memes to the deep lore shaping this vibrant digital community. More than just a show, GM Farcaster is your digital third space where the community connects, the stories unfold, and the culture thrives. Whether you're a daily caster or just dropping by, we've got the latest buzz to keep you plugged in. So grab your coffee and let's dive in with your hosts, Nounish Prof and Adrian, for another episode of GM Farcaster. GM Farcaster. It is Monday, February 24th, and you're here with Nounish Prof and Adrian for 29 minutes of Farcaster to start your day. Plus, we have the Polymarket Intern coming by. And you know what? I was being really good while you were gone about retweeting when we go live during our little intro, and I totally forgot. So I'm going to do that right now. And if you are watching us on Twitter, give us a little retweet. So that more people know what we're doing over here.
And a recast, because there's like a billion new people on Farcaster, I think. Like it seems like there's either people returning or people new. I'm seeing a lot of like, hey, how do I get plugged into Farcaster? So
this is how. If
you're a reg. If you're a regular hanger outer and you recast, we'd appreciate it.
Yep, I'm gonna cast this out too. And yeah, so yeah, there's a lot of people like popping back up. So what I think is that Dan may be making the rounds and letting people know things are happening. And I think they're also just seeing it more on Twitter. So they're coming on over to see us. So it's been fabulous. You've missed a lot. How's your Warplet?
I so wish I was here. I don't like the Warplet. I don't like the Warplet. I don't even think Dan likes it. I just think he thinks it's mimetic.
No, Dan tried to. He was like, "Stop trying to make fetch happen," and we were like, "No, fetch is happening. Like, you have no choice."
But I do love my Farcaster embedded wallet.
It is fabulous. It is fabulous. So let's dive into all the things. First up, we do have to talk about ETH Denver, which is this week. A lot of folks are already there, especially those who are participating in Bidler Week. So they've been hacking away and seeing lots of posts coming out of people flying in or getting ready to. And we will be there flying in Wednesday, there through Sunday, and on Saturday we have a fabulous ETH Denver karaoke brunch. So come join us for GM Farcaster's event on Saturday morning, and you can RSVP in this fun little frame if you are holding a hypersub, an active hypersub token, or if you are holding a Lil Noun, it should auto approve you. Otherwise, I'm going through and approving, people I know, essentially, kind of looking through everybody and going, are you really even coming to ETH Denver bot with 10 followers? I don't think so. So yeah, you're not coming. But I'm really excited. A lot of folks RSVPing. I think it's going to be a blast. And we will have some fun prizes and a little Farcade tournament. So you're going to want to be there. It's going to be fun. We won't make you sing, but it's highly encouraged. What were you going to say? Can we what?
I said, I can't wait.
Oh, I can't wait.
Fun. We had fun. And somehow like we're able to do like it's cozy corner brunch yet super fun party at the same time.
Same. Yep, exactly. Great. It's perfect. I'm really looking forward to it. We're also going to be in the podcast space at ETH Denver. So if you are going to be there and you're hearing this right now and you're like going to be speaking, or you have a booth, or you're doing something really fun at ETH Denver, and you're on Farcaster, hit us up. We want to bring you into the booth and chat about what you're doing at ETH Denver. That'll be Thursday, noon to 1. We'll be in there. So we're scheduling people right now to do that. And also, Adrian, I didn't check with the CFO first, but I ordered some t-shirts. So I hope they'll be approved. If not, I'll check it out.
Great.
And I'm just hoping they get there in time. So these are the two things, but they're really cute.
Where are
They're
they being
purple.
ordered to? Do you have them
They're being
delivered to
sent-
Denver?
Yes, sent to Denver. So fingers crossed that everything goes well.
I'm less worried about spending money than I am about the fact that you ordered them last minute and they may not arrive in time.
This is a possibility. Kept meaning to order them. I was trying to order them so they could just be shipped straight to Denver, and then I kind of waited a smidge too long, but I think they're going to be there. Let's see. If not, they'll be fabulous for FarCon. Also at ETH Denver, the Crypto Sapiens On-Chain Creator Summit. By the way, I'm speaking at this. I also don't know what I'm doing for that one either, because I say yes. I say yes first and then go, wait, what am I doing? So this is Friday at 12 p.m. There's a creator and coffee meetup, and then 1 p.m. the sort of talks and presentations happen. And we've got Lucas from Pods, Aneri from Base, me, Afro Chicks, Ted, Sahil, Carfi, and of course the amazing Humpty. And this is with Vibe Check, Unlock Protocol, Own the Doge, and the creators. So it's just going to be really cool. If you're going to be at ETH Denver and you're a creator, go check this out and jump on there and grab a ticket. And then also in other conference news, the FarCon prop passed. So thank you, Nouns. We're excited to have Nouns sponsoring the media space at FarCon, as well as providing a bounty for the Builders Day hackathon. So thanks, Nouns. Very excited. It was a little nerve-wracking because Bybit led to a shutdown of Safe. The Bybit hack led to a shutdown of Safe for a little bit while they checked all their security. And I realized that like a big chunk of votes on Nouns come in through safes because you're holding, different things, whatever. And I was like, oh, okay, this is going to get interesting. And then I also couldn't move funds, and yeah, but it's all good. Everything worked out. It's fine.
Wow.
And also in just funny news for, whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. This one. My kiddo was cleaning out the fridge. This is a real thing that happened yesterday. And he's cleaning out the fridge and in the freezer. And he's like, why are there Girl Scout cookies in the freezer? And I'm like, put them back. Why? Like, the cookies are mysterious and important. And I said I would explain this to folks who weren't around when frames first launched. One of the first frames to be able to buy something in the frame with DGen was a Girl Scout cookie frame, where you could buy Girl Scout cookies with DGen, and I spent 90,000 DGen on 6 boxes of Girl Scout cookies. These are the last 2 sleeves of those cookies. So they are special. So they stay in the freezer. Put them back. What are you doing?
The DGen cookies.
Those are the DGen cookies. And they're
If only you had, bought them with ETH.
I know, right? But I bought them with DGen.
Then you could eat them.
Special. I would eat them, no problem. Because pretty much everything else I buy now, I buy with ETH in a way.
Yeah.
I have to translate it, but yeah. One more thing regarding, whoops, why do I have having a problem with this one? ETH Denver, Chuck Stock from Farcade. Quick update for all you beautiful gamers and builders. ETH Denver, we got some really great things lined up. Hope to see you there. Again, they'll be at our, we'll be doing a Farcade tournament at the GM Farcaster brunch. The AI Game Studio. We weren't satisfied with some of the bugs and UX issues with AI Game Studio, so making a lot more tweaks before sending out more invites. We'll be sending out more invites for the Game Studio next, so pushing the Game Jam to next week or the week after as we're busy with ETH Denver. If you'd like to start building games with one of our integration partners, check out vo.dev. So very cool. I'm excited to build a game just because I want to. This is very exciting news, except we can't tell you what the exciting news is. But DWR just had 2 more offers accepted. Choo choo. So there's 2 more people joining the Merkle team. And yeah, we'll have to tell you that next week, who those people are. So look for it on the timeline. I'm going to guess that like sometime today, that announcement's going to go out.
I love seeing everybody guess who it is.
What are the
I'm
guesses?
surprised no one has guessed us.
Why would anyone guess us?
2 more offers. You're 1, I'm 2, obviously.
No one's guessing us. I no, it's no. Who are they guessing? I haven't seen that part. Who's been on the guest list?
JTGI and Samuel Huber are kind of like the perma
always.
guesses. I just saw that earlier today. See, obviously, Miriam also thinks it should be us.
It's not. But I like this. Feels like he's assembling the Avengers bit by bit. I like that. That's exactly what he's doing. And then
Great
apparently,
to see. I
don't think so.
Also, right, Jeff Goldberg and Art Lou was
they're the next 2 hires.
Was the other 2. I'd love to see King in there. Maybe King and Farcaster admin.eth.
Definitely
Dutch. We'd love to see him join.
If you have any guesses and you're in our chat, please drop your guesses in there. I'm curious. Singing is optional, gregarious. Yes, at the Farcaster brunch. So, whoops, having issues. What were you going to say? Sorry.
It's just like if only there were prediction markets where we could.
If only. I know. Yeah. If only there was a prediction market on who is next. I'm very excited to see those 2 new hires, and I'm excited to see that announcement later today, hopefully. This is the big-ish news over the past few days has been the change in spam filtering. And everybody listen to me right now. Everybody lost followers. It wasn't just you, Yasik, and everybody else. It wasn't just you. We all did in about the same percentages. So it's all good. So this is from DWR. Why did my follower account decrease? 1, yesterday, so this was a couple days ago, we changed how Warpcast counts followers by excluding users our algorithm flags as spammy. 2, Twitter, at least historically, and Instagram both do this. 3, we've had an uptick in spam recently. So as part of improving our spam models, we decided to make this change. 4, view this less as losing followers and more us giving you a more accurate, but not perfectly accurate view of your audience. 5, there are additional improvements we can make here, and we will likely do that over the coming weeks, months. 6, important, this change only affects Warpcast's display. It does not alter protocol data. Those accounts still follow you. And if you follow a spammy account, i.e. you don't find it spammy, you'll see all their casts. 7, third-party apps can access Warpcast's open source spam labels. And then finally, please see the next cast for other thoughts I've shared. So the bottom line is, go ahead. Go ahead, Adrian. You're on.
The bottom line is we live in a social media world where everybody focuses on follower counts and other arbitrary metrics that determine how we feel about ourselves. But guess what? It doesn't really matter because especially in this case where you look at a number, right, and you think you're doing well, these aren't real people that you want following you. So your follower counts are not your worth.
There we go.
People are you're much better off having fewer followers and
having them be quality and actual people. Yeah. So treat it like a social network, not social media. Doesn't matter what the number is. So it's all good.
My follower counts went down. I do check. I'm not.
Yeah. You're not immune.
I don't check. I check, but it's just a number.
It is. Yeah. And especially when everyone gets the same haircut or, some range of that haircut, it really doesn't matter if the bangs don't look good because you're all wearing the same haircut. It's all good.
Yeah. I'm sure there's someone you can compare yourself to that did not get as much of a haircut as you, but stop comparing yourself to other people.
Yeah. It's not worth it. And I love this. There was some downtime. So team is investigating downtime. And Brad said, oh, I know what happened to Warpcast. It's the revenge of the bots. Like
They're not bots.
they're back and
They're
they're not
just
happy.
spammy people.
Yeah, they're just spammy. And this is the other thoughts on this. A few spammy accounts can be, more often are than not, are humans. They're not necessarily bots run by software. When people find bots useful, we call them AI agents. By the way, I saw you calling your bot a bot. That was funny. And
It's not
and
graduated
goes on from
agent.
there. Yeah, he's not an agent yet. Okay, a few more things, and then we're bringing up Polymarket Intern. Very excited to chat. This from Brian Armstrong. What are you most excited about for crypto in 2025? For me, in random order: stablecoin payments, prediction markets. Hello. The rise of self-custodial super apps, decentralized social, aka that's Farcaster, Base, getting legislation passed in the US, Bitcoin strategic reserve, tokenized traditional securities, getting capital formation on chain, getting perpetual futures approved in the US. By the way, he does do on chain properly. So we thank you for that, Brian. Very cool to see him casting again, too. We've got some folks coming back into the fold, and that is nice to see. And then this was from Jesse. We are building the future of the internet right here, right now. Is it messy and weird and scary at times? Yes, absolutely. But couldn't imagine a better group of people to be doing it with. And I agree. I feel like right now we're in this moment where there's a lot of interesting energy happening in Farcaster in a really great way, where you have all these new hires, you have all these things happening, and it feels like we're on the cusp of something. I think the Coinbase wallet integration is really interesting. I just think there's a lot of cool things happening that, that are going to lead to some big things here. And Balaji's back. My strong impression is that Farcaster's feed is much more positive than the feed of other sites. Who wants to prove that with sentiment analysis? Oops, sorry. Thank you. And that was interesting to see. And there was a really cool one from Beta Shop. So Beta Shop had a great sentiment analysis from Moxie AI, analyzing casts and tweets from people he follows. So really interesting to see some tools being developed to actually be able to answer that question well. I called in Ethernet and asked Gina, but they were just kind of meh. Adrian was like, where are your sources? Where are your sources? It wasn't even me. It wasn't the professor. It was her.
No, I was asking Ask Gina. Ask Gina's like, it's a 25% increase in positive sentiment. I'm like, good answer. Show your work.
Show your work. And I was just like, okay.
Okay. I love this cast from Balaji, which is hilarious because anyone who's been around in Farcaster for the past 2 years as a daily active user, that's me, just intuitively knows this. I do not need any data. I do not need a sentiment analysis. It's just so clear that Farcaster is more positive. Like it's
right.
And how many millions of words have been written about this? And I do think it's funny that for Balaji to be asking this, like I get that, someone will get the data, he'll use it to, I'm sure, to good effect. But
oh yeah, for sure. A couple more quick things before we move on. You can now change your wallet to Warplet. If you didn't know this yet, just go into your wallet and click on the word wallet, and it will change to Warplet. That's all. Just because. So they gave up on trying to not make it happen and just leaned in. And I love that about them. And then this from Toady Hawk, hearing rumors that when the new Coinbase wallet is released, it will be called Coinbase Warplet. Big, if true. I do not think it's true. Do not think it's true.
Kids don't even know what a wallet is.
I know.
Like no one carries a wallet anymore. Like it's just a money holder. It's just the app that shows them where their money is.
I know. So that's fine.
So can we just lose wallet? Like there's no cool way.
What are we going to call it?
Anymore. Just money holder.
Money, because that's a much better word.
It's so much better.
Warplet.
Bank.
Warplet.
Just crypto holder. I don't know. Okay.
Notes on Warpcast Wallet here from V. Warpcast Wallet and rewards aren't available to some users in some regions. We're a US-based company and are required to follow US law and regulations. Here's a list of countries we cannot offer the wallet and rewards program to. So just FYI, This is, if you're seeing unsupported region and you're not in one of these countries, this can happen because you logged in from one of these areas at least once. You don't use Warpcast, so we don't know your region for rewards. So make sure that, if you have any of those issues, just note them here. I'm going to skip that for now. Okay, very quickly. Zora has a new model. It took me a minute to fully understand the new model. You're going to understand why I'm telling you about this in a second. So instead of you create an NFT, you create a post, and that post becomes a coin automatically. Dan has an optimistic case for Zora here, talking about optimistic case for a new Zora model. Everything that can be a token will be a token. This trend is accelerating because the largest capital market in the world, the US, is finally has pro-token regulatory environment, using coin and token interchangeably here. 2, if you create digital media, you can immediately earn money. No bank account payment process or platform, Zora contracts or protocol. 3, additionally, if you create digital media that goes viral, captures internet scale attention, you can make a lot of money. Traditionally, the only beneficiaries of internet scale attention are the Web 2 social media platforms. They monetize via attention time spent, and they minimally share the upside with creators. 4, coins are the most composable primitive in crypto. Order of magnitude more than NFTs, leads to weirder emergent use cases. 5, Zora open editions, fee, distribution, stack is underrated for curator app layer, except it's not really an open edition. All right, so that's the thing. It's totally different. It's there's no NFT at all anymore. So my first impression of this was that it was the NFT plus it became a coin, but so they did an experiment with this already. And if it hit a certain level, it became a coin also. So you would buy like hundreds of this NFT, and then you would benefit from the coin it became afterwards. We're skipping the first part. It's not an NFT at all. So for me, this made no sense. And I was very confused because, again, I just want old Zora back because I really liked it. And I feel like this should have been a fork, but regardless, not my business, so not my choice. But I still feel that way. However, I understand where this is going. And it took me a couple days of thinking about this to understand where this was going. And the only way this makes sense is if you had integrated it into an existing social graph, like Instagram, you turn this on, then it makes sense because I just want to collect this very cool viral post and trade on it speculatively. So to me, what social graph makes sense to integrate into Zora? So we'll see.
Lens?
Yeah, Lens. That's exactly it.
Is that what we're talking about?
So my guess is that maybe
So,
Zora is going to become a Farcaster client, but like an Instagram type version of this, which we've heard discussed many times. And then it makes a little more sense. And the reason I say this also is because lemons. So somebody was experimenting and dropped something called lemons. Do you know who launched this, Adrian?
DWR?
Yeah. So he posted
I saw
this.
grapefruit yesterday.
No, yeah,
Is there lemons?
Lemons was only done on Zora. The grapefruit was done on the cat. So there you go. And also, this was more a shout out to the token pages, which I should have put $lemon in here so you guys could actually see the token page. Because I couldn't figure out why I was seeing $lemons everywhere. And then I clicked on it, went to the token page, and then saw Tricel's cast, and that helped me like figure it out what the heck was going on. So thank you for that. But there's been a lot of feelings on this, and there's a lot of back and forth about whether it's good or not. I have been critical, and I've been critical on Twitter and Warpcast a little bit about this, but I think I needed to change I'm still critical in a different way though. This isn't going to bring artists. This is no longer for artists at all. Like this is not for them. Like this is not going to be necessarily a place where you're going to sell your art as something someone can collect and put in their wallet. That's no longer this. This is a completely different thing. Is it, do I mean artists shouldn't jump onto Zora? No, that's not what I mean. But it is a very different type of primitive. If you would use it similar, if you're an artist, similar to the way you'd use Instagram, not the way you would use Old Zora or Manifold or Foundation. So just have to change your thinking a little bit. So like it doesn't make sense for us really. Probably it makes sense, only if we're using it the way we use YouTube Shorts. It makes sense, but it doesn't make sense for our thing that we want people to collect and hold and have forever on chain. That, luckily we have pods and that's working well for that purpose. Okay. Any thoughts before we bring up our fabulous Polymarket intern?
Not really.
He's been waiting patiently. Okay. So that's that. I've had some interesting conversations about this over the past few days, and it really, it's just a completely different approach to this. And I don't know where it's going to go, but I think if it's either integrated into Coinbase wallet or integrated or Farcaster, it becomes a Farcaster client. That seems like probably the only approach that makes sense. So we'll see what happens. All right. Are we ready? We got to bring up Goldie. We got to bring up Goldie to the stage. Welcome. Goldie, we're bringing you up. Oh, you're muted. You need to unmute first. There we go.
Is that working now?
Now it's working.
How's it going?
Welcome. How are you? Wait.
Thank you for having me.
There's no bucket hat. There's no bucket hat. Oh my God. Like, I don't know who you are.
We have a bucket hat here.
Okay, thank you. Now I know who you are. Okay. I really was like, I needed proof of bucket hat.
Proof. There is a newspaper here, and we gotta.
There we go. Proof of bucket hat.
Everything going. How's everybody doing today?
Awesome. How are you doing today,
I'm
sir?
doing pretty well. I'm so grateful to be here. I'm a fan of the show, so excited to.
Well, we're a fan of you.
Whatever. Thank you.
We're a fan of you.
So let's talk about lemons being minted. I did buy
prediction
some of that
market
NFT
for lemons
without knowing anything about it, and I'm not selling because I'm collecting the lemons or whatever we're doing out here.
We're hodling lemons now. Apparently, that's what we do. That's what we do now. Awesome. Hey, are you in Denver? Are you going to be at ETH Denver or no?
New York City, New York, right now.
Okay. No, I didn't know if you were going to ETH Denver. Is what I meant.
I will not be at ETH Denver. However, if you are at ETH Denver, please go to the GM Farcaster brunch. So many incredible things going on there. There's going to be maybe heaters. Who knows? We'll talk to the CFO of the GM Farcaster podcast.
We'll do that. And if you were there, I think some people need to sing a song in Goldie's honor, by the way. And you guys decide.
Sing a song, karaoke, many songs. I like Backstreet Boys.
Okay. Oh, okay. Everybody. There we go. There we go. Yeah. Okay. I feel we're going to make it happen. We're going to make it happen in your honor. Ask a question. You have a question, you said. Go ahead.
Ask a question. My question was going to be, I sadly forgot the question, but sort of to you about the show. First of all, the consistency is incredible. Like being able to see you guys do this daily for
episode 218 right here.
Yeah. Incredible.
Crazy. Yeah.
Kind of curious your thoughts and lessons around live content on Farcaster, about Farcaster, like taking a bit of a step back, because it's something that I think about often in terms of what's the best medium to get content about Farcaster, whether it's live on Farcaster with a Farcaster audience, a Farcaster community. Like, is it, do you think about clips more? Do you think about kind of just building out the consistency? Because this is, I would say, the longest running, most consistent Farcaster content, period.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's all prof. I've tried to quit like 10 times.
I won't let her quit.
Every
Oh,
other
quit.
week, I'm like, hey, do we really want to keep doing this?
Like,
Should we
yes,
just
yes,
take
we
a
do.
break? And she just shows up literally every week after week
Just
after
a
week.
couple.
She's
Uh,
incredible.
But
You know,
also it's just like
Farcaster,
deciding you're just going to keep doing it. And the one thing that we haven't done well yet is incorporate stream, so that we're streaming directly on Warpcast. And it's because there's a little bit of friction there that I just need to figure out, to make sure that we can do it in an easy way that it doesn't cause us to
we'll
but
get there.
we'll
But I
get there.
think
Yeah.
Gold, your question, Farcaster's a text-based social network.
So obviously it
So
needs a video-based podcast.
it does. Well, it does, right? I mean, you're going to have to add all. So
Yeah.
I think it's hard enough just to show up 3 times a week wherever we are to talk. So even slowly, we weren't on YouTube for the first 4 months. We
Yeah.
we were doing
We're only on
Unlonely.
Unlonely.
We were
Yeah.
barely and so I think over time we're going to add, but I think we both really just focus on just create the content and do it consistently. And
Yeah.
then we can kind of add. I do think we'll be adding even clips. We're awful at clips.
Oh my God, so bad.
Should
bad.
probably do a lot more. We're getting a
We
little
need more
better.
clips. We're getting
Thanks.
better, but we need more clips. Especially now with
Oh.
the thing that Dylan is building, which is a video feed called Tap. I don't know
Very
if you've seen
cool.
that. So
Very,
cool.
very cool.
And I think that may open up some opportunities there. Yeah. So there you go.
And
He
for
doesn't like
everyone who
clips.
tells us to do more clips, you've got Yes to
I know.
Crypto saying stop doing clips. So
It does
Goldie,
help,
you've
though.
been streaming.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been doing some streaming myself. I I am inspired by you guys to do more content. I've been doing a few streams and I honestly have the same issue when it comes to, I would assume it's something around OBS feeds and live and what's the best way to get a live feed directly into Farcaster or Warpcaster, the most optimal way, and how do you overlay graphics? Are you using StreamYard? Are you using a little OBS? Maybe mixing in some Discord
use StreamYard.
calls?
And then as soon as somebody mentions the words OBS, I want to go hide under the covers, because we used OBS for the first 6-7 months. And it's a beast. It's really great if you know how to use it, but it takes a lot of learning.
And when it's
hard.
live, it's confusing to change things. Yes, I definitely. I mean, I've used
StreamYard, super easy, costs money, super easy. We can talk. We lend out our StreamYard, so that we have some extra seats. So if you're interested, we can hook you up and you can try that out. But I think consistency is key in building the audience, because the other thing is we've had people ask us about live versus recorded. And we talked with Dina about this from Boys Club. And she's like, how do you do live? Seems harder. I'm like, it's actually easier, because you're just taking everything you're doing and then putting it out as a recording. But also you have the audience to bounce off of. And especially if you're going to do it solo, you need somebody to bounce things off of, whether that's the audience or our co-host. It makes a huge difference. But even just the audience is really good to bounce off of. So we have great chatters. They show up every single day. Some of them, I can't even, Yes to Crypto, Miriam's, Sig Wider, so many of the people in this chat right now have been here for a year, almost every single episode. So KBC's here since the beginning, Meta David, so many of them. And that is so helpful for us to have those folks supporting and just being able to play off of. And then they're in on the joke. So it's really fun, they get our jokes and stuff.
Red Wings, the best. Tweaks, baby.
So good, right?
Yes,
yeah.
I have had the pleasure of knowing this gentleman for a while. I mean, it's something I think about often, because I do live because it's easier, just from the process of me clicking buttons to someone on the other side seeing it in some way. But my internal issue is I'm it's easy to get something out on the live side, but I also haven't built up the consistency in the audience base why these people are here. One, because you guys are incredible, and two, because you've done it every single day and you're so consistent that leads people to want to have fans, and the lore and the segments and everything that you guys do is building off of the last things you guys have done. Whereas with me, like the cold start issue to some degree is, what's the flow? What's the schedule? Okay, now that I did a 2-hour live stream of me forgetting how time works, like, is anyone just going to click through and scroll through? Probably
Yeah.
not. So I think for me, I'm thinking, is it, I wish that stream did something around clipping, because that would be
There is, so within
cool.
StreamYard, there are like tools that you can do clips and AI clips and things like that, but you still need some editing after the fact. But you can do some basic really pretty quickly. And Adrian's been pretty good about doing clips at times and phases, just not last week. She was on vacation. But what are you using right now, Adrian, for clips? Are you still using, like, I know
started playing with
something else, right?
I started playing with the automatic StreamYard, like will generate AI clips. Sometimes it picks the right things, like, oh, right. And as long as it picks the right, like snippet that's interesting, you can almost send it as is. Sometimes I like to edit it a little bit. And then sometimes it picks the dumbest things we talk about. I'm like, why would anyone want to listen to this as a clip? It's just stupid. So
like, why would no one would listen to us ever again? I think the other thing too is putting it everywhere where people, like, after the fact, even though you're doing it live, taking the recording, putting it on Spotify, putting it on YouTube, putting it on, RSS, so it goes out to Apple and all the places, I think is really helpful too, because everyone has their place they like to listen to content. And so not everyone's going to be able to be there live, but they still become part of the community. They share your stuff. They talk about what you talked about, things like that. So yeah, just keep showing up. And also, like, set it so that it's something you can do consistently. Like, don't overpromise. We have many times said we thought we'd eventually be every day. And I still am like, no, we can't do this every day because it's too much and it will burn us out. So the 3 days a week is perfect, but even once a week for most people is going to be plenty. And starting there and then build up from there. But that's my biggest suggestion.
Yeah. And are you trying to stream just like for you yourself? Are you doing it for Polymarket? Like, is it to connect with people? Is it just like, because it's fun? Is it your brand? Is it medium?
That's a good question. I would say it's a mix of things. Like, I'm kind of more trying it for myself before we do bigger things with Polymarket, since I think, anything I do on behalf of Polymarket, which is to some degree anything I do in general, but like is, want to have a higher bar of, specificity and do things, make a splash and have a lot of fun. Whereas for myself, I'm more content, talking for 3 hours straight with a non-poppy about the intricacies of why we're buying the wrong clankers. That is,
I
think that stepping out of, the Polymarket prediction market sense, which there's a lot of awesome things there. I just myself like to trade meme coins on Farcaster and complain about all the features that don't exist that I want because I care so much about Farcaster.
I love that.
Okay, final question. Right?
Yes.
When you stream, are you recording as well?
I do record, but then just once it's done, you're like, woof, we're done. That was great. And then
so you're not doing anything with the recording?
Not yet, but there are
we need to talk.
There are some incredible edits being made behind the scene, and I can't speak too much more about that. But down the line, we're gonna have more regular, quick clip farming getting done. Speaking of that, if you're out here listening, you're like, wow, I wish that you had more clips, and I want to help you with that. Please let me know.
And are you doing a consistent stream or no? Not yet.
Not exactly. I think it's a process and something I want to lean in more to. And additionally, I constantly am okay. How could Farcaster grow? What is Farcaster missing? I harp planning about the type of content I would like to see on Farcaster, and then I'm realizing myself, just make the content you want to see. I think that's This is a perfect example of that.
This is like, I wanted to talk about what's happening on Farcaster with my friend.
Exactly.
And then we just streamed it to other people. So it's like,
And we made more friends.
and we made more friends. Like that.
And then
we're
it's
gonna have,
inspiring
we're gonna,
more people
we're gonna have our little
to do their own
coffee, and we're
thing.
gonna talk about, you know, what's going on, and
Yes.
you know, and bring other people into it. And yeah, but we, you know, let's talk afterwards, because I have some other thoughts, but I just don't
Please.
know, you know, if
No
you're
worries.
if you're open to them. But like, like just hang out when we stop if you can, and then I'll give you a couple other thoughts there. But I would I think you should definitely, I think you've got the, obviously your personality is perfect for this kind of thing. And you and a non-poppy, sorry, that's hilarious. Because he's just crazy. And
He's a character.
in the best possible way. Like,
Absolutely.
did you see that video he did where he was trying on all the merch from FarCon?
Not yet.
Oh my
but-
God. Go scan his feed and find it, because it's hilarious. We showed it on the show. Hilarious. And he's like, it's a whole edit, and it's really funny.
He is truly one of a kind.
Yeah, so funny. So I think there is definitely an audience for talking about meme coins and clankers, and talking about Polymarket. Absolutely. Like, no question. You could just be going through, like, what's trending, what are people talking, like, what closed, what were some big, you know, predictions that were closed, and how they turn out. Like, that alone, huge audience. I guarantee it. Like,
Yes.
tremendous audience.
Currently today, the German election, I believe, just closed, and the AfD did not win, but they gained a significantly larger share of the vote than people expected, which, you know, vote counts, like the nitty gritty things kind of get, I mean, I'm not as familiar with the German election system, but things get ironed out more. I'm not totally sure, but it sounds like AfD did not win, but you know, those are definitely things that for Polymarket, you know, being able to have betting markets on elections and prediction markets there, the downstream effect is, I think, there's less places to get reliable election data information.
I think that was really huge during the US election this year. That, I mean, that's where Polymarket really got attention mainstream, where it was like, I'd be watching like just random news show, and I'm like, oh my God, they're talking about Polymarket. This is crazy, you know, but it was like in a great way. Like, I loved seeing that sort of just filter in a very natural, organic fashion, where they started talking about it the way they're talking about polls. And I think it was so interesting to watch that play out, and watch how, you know, markets in general play out in that way. And you could see sentiment move and change when different things were happening in the news. And it was just really interesting to watch that and see where people were landing. And what, from that experience, like how did you guys feel about that attention, and how did that, like, in terms of overall, like, after effects, I guess is the question.
Good question. I would say in terms of attention, like, I guess kind of the goal for Polymarket was to, you know, have our election markets kind of be like an information aggregator. Like,
I think it was.
I previous to working at Polymarket kind of come from like the background of the sports betting world, and that is very much, I mean, that is even new too, but even 5 years ago, you know, it was a huge faux pas to even mention the spread or the over under on the broadcast. And now, you know, ESPN has their own sports book, and every, you know, they're stuffing you with, oh, the line on here, bet on DraftKings here, have you heard of Prize Picks here? And it's, at the end of the day, it's all about, you know, that line, the odds, so to speak, are any talk about the weather and who's playing, you know, so-and-so is a sore hammy, you know, well, so-and-so might be sick and the coach might be doing this. Like, there's so much money
There's data points, a lot of data points.
It kind of all gets baked into this line by Vegas and the handicappers and where the action is. Whereas with the elections, there wasn't really, like, polls are an indication of what, I guess, either who think I'm going to vote for myself, and there's a bias there, or here's who I think, you know, a few other people might vote for, but not really, here's who I think everybody's going to vote for, because you're not really voting for who, I mean, it depends on for different people, but you're voting for here's who I'm going to vote for, not I'm voting for who I think is going to win, because
Right.
you have an impact with your vote. That's kind of the whole point of democracy. Whereas I think,
because you could very well have one opinion about who you're going to vote for and another opinion about who you think is going to win, who you're
correct.
going to put your money on.
Yes.
In terms of, and that happens even on a small way on like a ponder poll with the prediction polls. And I'm like, well, I'd say this, but that's probably going to win. Or even something stupid like Yapster. We're seeing it
Yes.
play out in a lot of different ways.
I love
like
Yapster,
prediction markets.
by the way.
Do you?
Very, very cool.
Okay.
Fan of everything they're doing over there, and just to see the iteration and trying new things, and are we going to do it every day? Is it a meta? And okay, here's the different wrinkles, like some more memes, less memes. My favorite feature is the voice chat. Like growing up as a young man on the internet playing on Xbox Live or FIFA or Call of Duty or whatever, like there's a nostalgic vibe to me of talking shit to other people,
Talking shit in the lobby, kind of thing.
Absolutely. Which
talking shit in the lobby.
I don't know if we can do this. We probably can't do this or do it yet, but like doing that, like it on an NBA game market on Polymarket, if people, we have on our comment section, which I think is something Farcaster honestly could bring in to some degree, but like if you have a position on a market, it shows the amount of shares you have on that account. So, if it's the election market, a lot of the funniest comments were like, someone with 10,000 shares of Michelle Obama, like making jokes about, well, I don't know if Kamala has the legs here. And it's like, that's pretty granted, sometimes
like the person who's literally not in the race at all.
Correct. Sometimes people will also buy one share to say, hey, like, I really, really need Trump to win here. And, it says like one share Donald Trump, and that always makes me laugh.
They're going to get like $2.
Yes. I think it's a mix of the two to some degree. Like there is a degree also of, prediction markets aren't saying definitive,
right?
Oh, well, if someone is at 70% at any point, they're going to win. Not exactly. Like it's again, in the sports world, if someone
anything
is
can happen.
70% chance to win a game and they lose a game, it doesn't mean that, the platform was wrong or Vegas was wrong. It just happened that there was an upset, and that's the way things happen in the world. There's plenty of upsets.
Right.
Like
plenty of Cinderella stories. I mean, March Madness is a perfect example of that.
Love March Madness. Very exciting.
Yeah.
Big things planned for March Madness.
Tell us. Can you give us any alpha?
I can't tell you the extent of it, but just, we have college basketball live on Polymarket now, which is very exciting in my opinion. Last year, kind of the first thing I did for Polymarket on Farcaster was we did a on-chain March Madness bracket frame that minted your bracket as the NFT, which was kind of an experiment to see, frames are new, prediction market, sports, kind of what's the best way to intersect there, and then seeing what bracket's done. Like big fan of Tim and the team, and it's cool to see like agentic bookies is something I've always been thinking about, and to see how that's playing out is very exciting. That there's actual horsepower and engineering power and salary spent on how do we figure out to do Farcaster native, specifically sports prediction markets. I'm like, that's awesome. So
I love it for like, I still want to use it for things like cast out. I loved it when we used it for cast out, like something that's just very niche and community focused. And pickleball, we did it for pickleball, FarCon pickleball, like that to me is just like adding this element of fun to something you're doing with your community. I think is great. It doesn't have to be, you're not going to win $1 million betting on Adrian playing pickleball, but
but you could win $1 million, DGen.
You could.
You could.
And it's fun.
Can I just quickly touch on that for 1 second?
Yeah.
The one thing that like really sticks out to me that I find interesting to talk about is like how market structure of all these different markets like impacts the trading activity and kind of how it's like a full circle thing. Because like with bracket, it's more of a I mean, the bracky picking stuff is like an agentic bookie and a new spin, then very exciting to me. But seeing how, bracket is very similar to like a contest, like not like the sweepstakes contest purely, but it's, you're riding a team. And the initial thing that excited me with bracket is like, there's the collective, and USC didn't make it that year because it's a joke program. We're actually a women's basketball school. Shout out to Juju Watkins. But like,
true.
Ponder has some degree of I love how it's almost like a Family Feud prediction market to some degree, which is, I think, a better model for what they do in terms of like, you want to know what other people think is going to happen, as not necessarily is that going to happen, but what is the consensus opinion of everybody on what's going to happen, which gives a bit of a different read, but it's kind of works very well in the timeline. You know what I mean?
I love that you mentioned Ponder's Family Feud, because I literally have had that conversation with Kojo about doing a Family Feud style game show
that would be
on
awesome.
here with using like the surveys from Ponder, like to pull in that information, like
please do that.
100
would love to see that.
Farcasters surveyed, here's their answers kind of thing. I think could be really fun. We have to figure out a way to do it anonymously. The way they do Ponder right now doesn't really work for that. But
Matthew created a frame to do. Do you remember Matthew created like a Family Feud frame?
Yes,
and
it was
we were
fun.
playing it, and I stopped playing it, and I wonder what happened to it.
Yeah, I think it just he moved on. He's busy. I know there was a moment, but I do think there's different ways in which you've got a lot of different approaches to prediction markets right now, which are really interesting. But to a point that you brought up, Vegas odds in Vegas, that's been happening since 60s, 70s, 50s, I don't even know, way back on all kinds of crazy things. You'd always hear that reporting, but most people didn't have access to actually do anything with that information because it wasn't legal and where they were or whatever. Like we didn't have online, betting and things like that. So it's just kind of brought that to the masses. And I think that's what, Polymarket really has done as well, is bring that to a much wider audience. But it was really interesting to see the different types of prediction markets, especially around the US election, kind of coming to play and really playing a role in what people were reporting on and looking at and taking in as data. So it was, really fascinating. I think we're in just a whole different world right now. Go ahead, Adrian. I know you got a question.
Can we talk about access in the US?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Polymarket, you were not allowed to trade on Polymarket in the US, in France, in England, Ontario, and a few other restricted areas, which is unfortunate. It's due to a deal that we made it's illegal in the current setup. There are, which I would stress, I don't think that devalidates our odds and the value of the information at all. But there still is issues with, I guess, as Brian Armstrong said, perps aren't legal in America, and it's unfortunate to see that. And there is a new, regulatory environment being ushered in. And I also would say that there is a lot of optimism, but also we don't exactly know how things are going to play out. And the Trump administration is, I want to say inauguration was the 25th. So it's been under a month 20th, so far. It feels like it's gone so fast.
It's been a month and 4 days. Like we're still new.
Time flies. Yeah. This has been, I mean, I do think that with Trump, especially, like, there's, he's a bit more of a wild card in certain way, which is why people were attracted to him to some degree. And I think that, having prediction markets around in a Trump presidency offers a lot of, not necessarily more value, but a different kind of value with Doge and all the thing getting spun up there. And we have a lot of markets on, kind of what he does in the first 100 days and to some degrees of more, pop culture type things around, some of the social culture war type issues. And then, we have in my opinion, one of the most important prediction markets we have running and that is running, there are a few different places have this market, but around when and if the Bitcoin strategic reserve happens. And I think that could hopefully be a big opening point for the US government taking a clear positive regulatory stance towards crypto. And whether or not that happens, I think, being able to track the likelihood of that happening through a prediction market. And I think, people talk about things getting priced in, and, the famous Wall Street Bets post, everything's priced in.
Yeah.
You're never going to beat the market. I do think with prediction markets and crypto, like there's certain corners and pockets of these markets where things are priced in to some degree, but I think of prediction markets as kind of more of a longer tail indicator. Like with the Bitcoin, with the ETH ETF last summer, that was one of the more interesting markets, seeing how the price corresponded on that market and via which date that happens and the price of ETH. And, is there an ETF? Is there not an ETF? When does ETF happen? When is the prediction market going to resolve? Like there's a lot of, it's less like, oh, it's all standard. Because if everything was priced in, it would be 99-1 on everything.
Yeah, true.
I think additionally, one area I think is incredibly interesting for us to explore just in prediction markets in general is like being able to hedge on, like, for example, I see the penguins here. Love the pudgy penguins. Like there was such an interesting game theory situation going on with the Pengu drop before Abstract came. What's the Pengu airdrop going to be worth? How much are you going to get? What's the floor price of the Penguin going to be the week after the drop? What's the FDV float? Like there's so many questions. And if you give people, in legal jurisdictions on whatever platform they're using, the ability to, if you're really going to do it, say, okay, here's the contract address I know of the Penguins, that the tokens are locked. I want to set up a few agents to trade on my behalf, that if the ratio of floor price of Penguin versus the amount of tokens I own gets to a certain point, set a, open up a DCA on Jupiter to sell the tokens while you're hedging the probability of the FDV to be a bit lower on one side. Like there's so many different layers to it. And that's where I think the market structure does inform the market itself. Like with meme coins, they're untapped markets. Like they're essentially attention markets to some degree that could be worth zero, could be worth infinite money. Like, but with prediction markets, I mean, with the structure of markets on Polymarket, like, by a certain point, it's either going to resolve to, $1 or to $0. So I think kind of seeing the way things get informed there is particularly, or like with bracket, you're competing with someone else, and there's a degree there of like, if we're all on the Mavericks and the Mavericks win the finals, I may get less reward back on the Mavericks because I only switched to the Mavericks in the second round, but you were riding them all the way through the playoffs.
Right.
So I think that
just happened with the Super Bowl. Like the ones who had the Eagles early on really made out, whereas those who came in at the end probably didn't do as well, or maybe even lost, depending on if you switched from something else along the way, kind of thing.
Yes.
So it's
or you took the like the new bracky agentic betting thing, which I think is cool. Is
so cool.
A bit of like shows you the two different ways that market structure impact the reward and the competition. Whereas like I was upset, honestly, because I'm like, man, like everybody has the same amount of shares. Like I don't want this. How can I buy more? Like I want a bigger stake. But there it was a level playing field. Whereas on the other side of it, it was more of what I'm traditionally used to. Whereas, if you want 1 billion bracky. I mean, not that much. I think there was a bit of a limit
Is there a billion bracky? Like, what's the supply
We're gonna make
on
more
bracky?
bracky. We're gonna keep
We're making more
printing.
bracky.
Yeah.
Make bracky great again. I think there's so many ways all of this can go. I think when you're talking about agenic betting essentially, or bracket as like a agenic bookie, if you will. For those who maybe don't understand what we're talking about, this is an AI agent that is like dealing with whatever prediction you're wanting to put out there. I'm saying these in all the ways that I hope are legal. So
I
it's
also
a
am
little
not trying to
different.
ruffle any feathers. Bracky is just an account
Love
on
Bracky.
Farcaster that
Yeah.
leaves comments and
Exactly.
offers opportunity.
Yes. It offers ideas. It gives you good information too. It gives you like opinion, and like if you can ask it
Yes.
about what do you think of this and what do you think of that. And I think we'll see more of like the more data you can build into something like that, the better it's going to be. And I think that's really interesting. I think we're in a very interesting moment with the agents that we're going to see some really cool experiments in all different areas, but this is one of them for sure.
I'm gonna touch on that for 30 seconds, and then I'm
Go.
gonna take a step back. But like
Go.
that's one thing that excites me the most about prediction markets in general, which is on a meta level. Every market is a prediction market to some degree, but
Yep.
with decentralized on-chain prediction markets, it's essentially a competition to predict to some degree, to make the most money as possible, and via that simple goal, it puts a bounty on timing information, which I think is certain times that is best accessed by an agent or by using AI tooling better so than just me surfing the web. Like,
right.
For example, with the NBA trade deadline, this might have less of an impact on the greater world. Like, I really want to know where is Jimmy Butler going to get traded? But as a person, you're kind of, you can do your research and hopefully maybe, I don't know, let me see who I can call. Like, I'm not going to call any NBA people. There's a lot of NBA reporters and stuff that are trying to break the news. So kind of the market is informed by who's best, grabbing the information and, analyzing sentiment from tens of sources, hundreds of betting odds. Where is Jimmy Butler posting on Instagram? Did he unfollow so-and-so? And that kind of translates on towards, what's happening with the Ukraine and how is Trump going to handle that there? And who's going to be the new Secretary of Defense and who's the Secretary of State, and kind of what's their policy and where's their sentiment, and what's their intern tweeting from their Twitter account. Like, there's so many layers that I think being able to price these markets is a way to, for me, in my opinion, like, people are going to bet no matter what, but
absolutely
being able to harness that information to, just like we did in the election and with other markets that are, people care about in different ways, give that information to the world that anybody can see, which I think is cool.
Totally cool. And I think you're right. Like, just being able to aggregate all that data and all that information, and also find things that maybe a human wouldn't even realize is important. Like, unfollowing somebody or something like that. Being able to pick up on stuff like that is really, really interesting. Or analyze photos and be like, oh, where this person is right now? They're in LA. That's not Miami. That's, that's somewhere else. And be like, oh, okay, that's important information. Picking up location data and things like that. So very cool. You're getting, I love this. Can't believe the Polymarket Intern is this deep, man. Yeah, for real. Like, no joke.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Very good thing.
Oh, great.
I have to say, like, interns who play well on Farcaster are incredibly smart, clever, and just very savvy. So, and I think you were the first example of us seeing that play out. Nah, you're pretty savvy. And like, just watching some like people take your lead as an intern. I think it's been really cool. And when we say intern, we mean it like this. Because sometimes it's not really, they're not really an intern. These are very smart, capable humans who are doing are posing, like putting themselves in that role because it allows for a lot more entertainment factor too.
We have
And
a
I think
growing
that's important
program.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. It's okay. We're
You actually have?
had
Do you have
for
a real
while.
intern program?
That was said in jest, but I believe in the summer, TBD, we'll get more information. But if you are a designer watching this and you design incredible things and you love beautiful design and product design, DM Polymarket on any platform that
There
you're
you
on.
go.
We would love to talk to you.
There
Sorry,
you go.
just had to,
No, that's good to know.
plug it
That's
out
good to
there.
know. We'll send some people your way. Yeah.
I
Zero
have
X designer. They're calling.
Zero X designer.
I have kids, Goldie. I have
Big
kids
cannabis
coming
work.
up on. I have kids coming up on intern age, so I'm always looking out for them.
Yeah, for real.
Yes, we are.
Including-
If you make good stuff and you are an awesome person, like we want to get to know you. Like a bit of a story on how I started working at Polymarket is
I'd love to know that.
I was working on a sports betting prediction market NFT kind of fun project of myself, and I was working at Bright Moments. Shout out to Phil.
Phil. Yeah.
Which is cool and awesome, and it was very, very different, like the traveling NFT crypto art gallery with all the incredible artists and art blocks and AI art, and the hospitality side of things was incredible. But the internships I did in college was around kind of social sports gaming and betting related stat startups. Shout out to, I don't know if Doubles is still around, but Double Crown Gaming, and they actually, this startup Trend sold to a company called Fansure, which cool stuff, was doing markets on insurance around sports tickets.
Interesting.
Like if you really want to see the Warriors, but you really only want to go see Steph, you could buy insurance that if Steph gets hurt and misses the game or can't make it, you get some insurance payout there. But I would recommend this strategy or approaches in general to young creators. I saw Polymarket, I did a lot of research on Polymarket, thought it was awesome. And then I'm like, you know what? They aren't making enough, social short form content on Twitter. So I just started making it myself, like featuring Polymarket odds and stuff and doing stuff and just tagging them in it. I'm like, hey, here's the, South Carolina primary prediction with data by Polymarket. And, I just threw in some funny jokes and made one about Ryan Gosling winning the Oscar, which he did not. And they hit me up and they're
for Barbie.
for Barbie. I, broke down all the stats. I'm like, well, it's been 100 years or maybe not, 80 years since someone won Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, and Best Supporting Actor. Ryan Gosling. It'd be a big fuck you if Ryan Gosling. Oh, sorry, I apologize. I don't want to swear.
That's okay.
It would be a big F you if Ryan Gosling came in and won the Oscar and the whole Greta Gerwig, and just I think it's interesting to dance with the narratives and the data itself. But yeah, I just started making videos about Polymarket and posting them online, and they said, hey, these are awesome. Let's, how can we help you? Or I said, how can I help you? I wanted to do this for you. So kind of how I got my foot in the door, and then, doing some Farcaster stuff, kind of working with the markets team, kind of now more doing a few different things on in the growth team. But I would say the coolest thing about crypto is the town square, so to speak, is Farcaster, Twitter, all the social apps, and just you can, yes, permissionless.
Yes.
I'm a big fan of Jack Butcher. Kind of his talks about being a permissionless apprentice is a huge inspiration for me of, just like Dan says, you can just do things. You can just
do things.
Make videos about Farcaster, post them on Farcaster.
This is our story.
Literally.
About
Absolutely.
Farcaster. It's not like Dan was like, you know what? Does anyone want to start a podcast? No. It was like, we just did it. And there's a lot of other people. You even see the people that Merkel is hiring. They just did things. They just went out and did things, and then they got their attention from them. When they were finally looking for people, it was like, oh, they've already done XYZ on Farcaster. We're going to just pull them. So I love that that was your initiative. And I'm still teaching one class at the university level. And I try to express this to my students, but you'd be surprised at how many are just too freaking lazy to like take that kind of initiative. So like good on you for doing that, because that is how you're going to get ahead in this world at this current moment. Like the job market isn't going to drop you your dream job like on your lap. You're going to have to show proof of work.
Proof of work.
Work. There you go.
I was trying to think of
love
a
it.
proof of stake joke, but
there's just nothing there. Yeah,
with
proof of
I
work
have a
still is the one.
question for you.
Yeah.
Speaking of new Farcaster hires, it's an honor to announce that no, I don't have any news there. Well, one, Dan should let you break one of the stories and have the live announcement on the show and the interview there. Like, hello,
quick,
Dan.
let's check the timeline.
That'd
Maybe
be pretty
we
cool.
can. I agree.
One thing I would love to field the show and kind of get some thoughts here would be big fan of Ted. She's a friend of mine. She's the best. How can that?
Did you do that 50,000 mile?
You did that giant.
Absolutely,
walk.
I did.
Yeah.
26 point. We
Like,
started.
Didn't everybody end up with bucket hats too?
Everyone ended up with bucket hats.
Awesome.
This is not news. This is not an announcement. But FarCon 2025, there's a lot of blocks in New York City. And there's a lot of, and there could be
Brooklyn
something
Bridge.
exciting going down with, it would be a real shame if we brought it back turbo in the Big Apple in the heart of the city.
I fully expect that to happen. And I would love to take part of that, but probably not the whole thing.
The thing I was going
at some point, I envisioned myself in a cab going, where are you going to be? Okay, I'll meet you there.
It doesn't have to be a full encompassing thing. We're kind of figuring out the details. But what I would say is like that is a perfect example of a Farcaster. I don't know if it's marketing content, however you want to say it. But Ted just saw this. He was like, this is crazy. We should do this.
Yeah.
Who wants to do this?
Yeah.
And then people...
Yeah, we love.
I don't know if it's a controversial take. I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah, we love Ted.
But like then it kind of just happened, and I, flew in from New York to do it. Met a bunch of people. Shout out to Keckers and Ted and all these incredible people, and Elisa and Rez and all. Matthew joined for probably 20 miles, which 20 miles is a lot of miles. Like not easy.
Still can't believe you guys did that.
It was hot too. It was like the middle of the summer in Los Angeles. But building off of that, like how does Farcaster get more organic moments like that? Because I think that's like the perfect success story for content and excitement on Farcaster is things that kind of get spun up
organic,
from people being like, how funny would that be? And then people just kind of lean into it.
And I feel like there's a lot of things that do happen like that. Like FarCon is exactly that. It's developed, it's building and building, but it's exactly how that started. Was like a couple of people saying, hey, we should just get people together to like hang out and talk about Farcaster. It's like there's a lot of that happening over and over again. But you're right. I'd love to see more of that for sure.
So the bigger the network gets, right, and the bigger FarCon gets, and everybody looks to FarCon as like, well, if I can't go to FarCon, I can't do anything. So I think we need to just keep reminding people, permissionless, decentralized. Like you don't have to go to FarCon New York. Go just start with a local meetup. You've got two
Love seeing
FarCasters in your community.
FarCon Asia was great. Mm-hmm. FarCon Asia was great. Like you can do your own FarCon. Like do your thing. Be the change.
You can call it something else. Like you can just go meet people, stream, like start a stream, start a podcast, to host a Zoom. I mean, in the early days, how many people would reach out and just be like, hey, want to hop on a Zoom? Like you look interesting. You sound interesting. And if you're new to Farcaster today, like don't go after the people who have 300,000 followers to be like, hey, you want to meet? Find the people who are kind of newer to Farcaster, create your own kind of like community smaller. It doesn't mean you can't go after bigger people who've been around, but they may have less time or
their DMs are busy.
pinging.
Yeah. The GMs
But,
might be
yeah.
hard to get into. But I agree with that 100%. And also finding
Well-
those little meetups. Do Farcaster Friday. Do your own
Yes.
Farcaster Friday, even if it's 2 people at a restaurant. Who cares?
It's fun.
Just go do it. It's fun.
Absolutely.
Super fun.
I would
Super fun.
also say that also don't think anyone's unapproachable. Like one cool
Yes.
thing with Farcaster
Yes.
that I love is that like it is, you know, who knows if they'll see it or reach back, but there's kind of, it's a small enough pond in a cozy way that, you know, you can talk to anybody, and the access that you're able to speak to people is, you know, a lot of people have nothing to say, or let's say, hey, GM, whack me, how are you? And I'm like, hi, how are you? How can I help you? They're like, no, I just wanted to say hi. I'm like, okay, cool. Which I don't have an issue with that. But if someone say, hey,
Like dig in. Yeah.
I built this frame, can you check it out and test it? I'm like, sure, that sounds cool. Tell me about it. Do you want to hop on a call? Like, I think so many great things from Farcaster come due to the spontaneity and the kind of trust I have in someone being on Farcaster. I'm like, hey, you're weird enough to spend time on here too. So how can I help?
You must be my people.
Yes.
You're here every day too. You must be somebody I'd like. I swear to God,
Absolutely.
that's kind of my filtering at this moment as well. Yeah, for sure. Definitely reach out to people, or just drop in their replies too when they're casting things, like and have like a genuine connection there, because that's just even responding. That's how you really get to know people. Sharing, if they're sharing something about themselves, Adrian's sharing about her ski trip and you ski. That's an easy opening. Don't come to me with the skiing. Like, I have nothing to say. But yeah. And this has been such a great chat. Like, I think I could seriously stay on a stream with you for like hours, because there's so many things that we didn't even get to. Like, the Oscars are coming up. So what's really funny? Yes. I was thinking about prediction markets, and I'm like, I have been doing prediction markets for a really long time, but I didn't call it that. I called it Super Bowl squares. I called it dead celebrity pools. Did anyone ever do these? Those are fun. And then Oscar predictions all the time. There was different, this is early internet. This is like, very early internet, where there'd be like forums and different boards and things like that where people would make predictions. So how is it heating up for the Oscars prediction markets?
Things are moving.
What
I mean, I think everyone's going to see memes of the Timothée Chalamet speech from last night in the green suit, but I think it's definitely interesting to see. There's nothing that's really in like a massive lead, except for Zoe Saldana's at 95% to win for best supporting actress for Emilia Perez. I haven't doing more stuff downstream there, and but I believe it's interesting to be informed more by the markets than by the movies themselves. Like, I think there's a degree of like, especially to some degree similar to sports, like, oh, I love this movie, this one has to win. It doesn't always work that way.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way.
I think like there's definitely a lot of parity going on, and I think last year was more certain that Oppenheimer was just going to destroy everything, whereas I think there's more potential for parity here, which is interesting. I would be curious, all award shows aren't the same, and the music landscape is different than the Hollywood landscape. But at the Grammys, I was like, okay, there's going to be some love spread around here. Maybe Sabrina gets something here. Maybe no, it just was all Kendrick.
No. Which was all Kendrick.
Again, Kendrick was phenomenal.
Great to see. But if you were predicting that based on the past of the Grammys, like if you just look in the, I wouldn't have predicted that. Like, I was ecstatic to see it, but I really didn't think it was going to happen. And I think there's a lot of people out there who were like, they're never going to give it to him. They're never going to, elevate that, which they should, but they won't. And they did. So that was really cool to see. So some shifting, something shifted there, which was, very cool to see. So that will then have an impact on next year's predictions. So, which is, so it's kind of fun.
I think that I'm going to quickly butt in here. I also have to run in a few minutes, but I think that with the Oscars, it's like there is a degree of the Academy sets is putting people is kind of with the Grammys, like by Kendrick winning so many awards, it's kind of signaling here's to the music industry and to culture at large, kind of here's a direction that we are going to platform and we are going to support. And granted, there's different voting systems for both awards, but kind of with the Oscars, it's, in my mind, it is a virtue signaling type of thing to some degree. And it's all these people are so incredible, and virtue signaling, not in a bad way, but of signaling to Hollywood, hey, here's what we, here's the
think.
thumbs up
Yeah.
that we are
Yeah.
giving to, and here's what we want to see more of to some degree, which I think is, a totally tangential, bad comparison analogy way. Like, Dan can talk about everything cool happening on Farcaster, and some things he talks about because he sees, and some things he doesn't talk about because he doesn't see. But some things that he's, speaking into existence is that things, oh, hey, this was so cool. Please give me more of this. Like, I think there's a degree like that with the Oscars. And then, I'm not as much of a handicapper of the Oscars, but it's half what you think yourself, but also sort of like the election. Here's who I think is going to win, not just my favorite movie.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Often it's not your favorite movie that wins.
Yes.
Often.
That tendency
Very
with the
often.
Oscars, that's how it works.
Yes. Almost always. I know we only have a couple more minutes with you, but Adrian, do you want to do a quick lightning round? Do we have
Lightning?
time
Ooh, that sounds fun.
We need
Lightning
a
round.
lightning round.
Yes.
We got to do lightning round. All right. Hit him
All
with the
right.
lightning round.
Okay. All right. So Goldie, on Farcaster, a big theme is the URL to IRL pipeline. So when and how did you make your first internet friend?
From Farcaster or from
in life? Like,
In life.
who's the first person in life that you met on the internet first and then later became an IRL friend?
Man, that's a tough question. Who's the first internet person?
We will tell you, usually it's like gaming or Facebook or things like
I'm
that.
thinking right now. Well, I don't
College. Sometimes it's college.
I kind of have one to some degree. Shout out to my friend Colin Tweaks. Really cool stuff going on. Like when I was at USC, I went to USC fight on. He was doing an NFT project around that time, and I was doing NFT stuff at USC at the time, and it felt like we were the only people doing that at the same time. And I'm like, I need to meet this guy. Like, I actually was mad because I thought that he rigged an NFT raffle there against me. Another thing I would also say is previous to that, bright moments, kind of the whole point was like, I'm bad at the lightning round thing, clearly.
It's okay.
But yes, at bright moments, so many people through the online crypto community coming together to mint generative artwork together. I would say, can't pick one, but the lovely minters of crypto.
The whole entire community. Yeah.
Yes.
And that's an incredible community.
Awesome.
Amazing
community.
artists. All right. Quick, Adrian.
All
Now
right.
we got to move fast.
Favorite channel on Farcaster?
Favorite channel on Farcaster? Skin in the Game. I love Skin in the Game.
Ooh.
Shout out to
Good
Nick and Mike.
one. Good shout out. Good shout out.
Yeah. Morning person or night owl?
I'm a night person.
Beach or mountain?
I guess mountain, but I like the beach. I just don't like getting wet, if that sounds dumb.
No swimming? You don't like?
Most people have
No,
a
like
problem with the
I like
sand and not the
swimming,
water.
but then when you're like drying off and then the sand sticking to you, it's like
I know, and
it's just a
the hair
whole-
doesn't look as good.
It's a whole
Yeah.
thing.
Exactly.
All right, concert or sporting event?
Sporting event.
I feel like I knew what you were going
I
to say.
feel like I could have predicted that.
But I like concerts too.
We should have done a prediction market.
What's the next country you want to visit?
Next country I want to visit. I would love to go to. I don't know why, but I saw a TikTok of the summers in Croatia, and they look so beautiful. And there's a bit of a mix of mountain and beach and sunshine.
Water. Yeah.
And water. Yes.
I would also
Yeah,
like
they're
to go
really
Croatia. It's
there.
kind of random, but this stuck out to me.
I saw some cruises going there, and I was like, oh, that'd be interesting. Yeah.
Oh, it's a long cruise.
Yeah.
Camping or hotel?
Camping or hotel. I guess if I'm camping, I'm in this scenario, I'm thinking it's like a mountain thing, and I'm like, ooh, I haven't gone camping in a while. Let's go camping. That sounds fun.
Let's go.
Yeah.
If you could bring one person, living or dead, to Farcaster, who would it be?
If I could bring one person living or dead, that's such a good question.
It is such a good question. That's my new favorite question by you, Adrian.
Let me. Probably would have honestly said Dave Portnoy as of a few weeks ago, but now I'm like reconsidering that thought. I
agree.
I'd love to see on Farcaster.
Even like a week and a half ago, I was like, "Oh, Dave's into crypto now. We should get him on Farcaster." And now I'm like, "We're not."
Honestly, this is why prediction markets are interesting, because things actually change over time.
Yes, I actually would say
the future is
Dave.
unpredictable.
Yes,
Dave.
I think Dave would be good.
To that point, like I think bringing on a big person that has a platform where their community can come over with them, or there's special content or whatever they can only see on the new platform, like that's definitely worked for streaming. I would say, but also like Dave would just make an account and say, "Hello, buy my base token," and then just never use Farcaster again. So
we never see him again.
Yes,
it's true.
But that would be great drama for Farcaster. So yes,
it would definitely be great drama. I agree. Thank you so much for being here with us. Anything else? Sorry, Adrian, I didn't mean to cut you off. I thought that was the last one.
No, we can. No, I just always end with the same question. I'll cut out.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah.
Last thing you bought with crypto.
I
forgot that one.
Can I say like real thing, or like, I mean, the last thing I bought.
I hope so.
I bought more Rizzler last night. I would say. Oh, I bought my FarCon ticket.
Yes,
there you go. That's a good one. Yay! We're gonna see you at FarCon. Yay!
See you at FarCon.
Amazing.
Welcome to my city, because it's totally my city.
Right?
Yeah,
it's totally your city. Yeah. It's also kind of Adrian's city, but okay.
Oh, welcome to our city.
Yeah,
it's everybody's city. I'm so excited for that. That's gonna be amazing. We'll let you go. I know you have to get to another call. But I just put a note in there, like, let's chat. We'll chat about streaming. We'll get you, let's see if we can collab on something, because I think that could be really fun.
I would love that.
After ETH Denver. I keep pushing things off to after ETH Denver.
After ETH Denver, yes. Let's do private chat. We got to talk Big Ten and March Madness as well.
Yes, we need to know more about that. All right, everyone.
Great.
This has been amazing. Love chatting with you. We should have had you on way sooner. This has been so fun. And to everybody watching, we'll be off for the rest of the week, but not really. We'll be popping our podcast that we do at ETH Denver. We'll put that on as a recording. We'll do a live stream recording, watch party kind of thing on Friday. And if you're going to be at ETH Denver, again, please come to karaoke brunch. We'd love to see you, or the FarCaster meetup Saturday night. And that's it. Anything else, Adrian, before we sign off for today?
No.
And we'll be popping on here and there. You'll see us doing clips and putting videos up of all the things we're doing at ETH Denver for sure. So we'll be around.
Yeah. Come find us. Say hello.
Come find us and say hello. Absolutely. All right, everybody. This has been great. We will see you on the timeline. And with that, bye-bye.